Antibes is a resort town in the Alpes-Maritimes department in southeastern France. It lies on the Mediterranean in the Quartier d'Isère, located between Cannes and Nice. The town of Juan-les-Pins is within the commune of Antibes. The Sophia-Antipolis Technology Park is northwest of Antibes. History. Antibes was founded as a 5th century BC Greek colony settled by Phocaeans from Massilia, called a 1/4 I 1/2 II Euro II to the first I, Antipolis. Due to its naturally protected port, the town of Antibes has long been an important trading center. Rome gradually increased its hold over the Mediterranean coast, and in 43 BC, Antipolis was officially incorporated in the proprietorial province of Gallia Narbonensis, in which it remained for the next 500 years. Antipolis grew into the largest town in the region and a main entry point into Gaul. Roman artifacts such as aqueducts, fortified walls and amphora can still be seen today. After the Roman Empire disintegrated in 476 AD, various barbarian tribes seized Antibes. This resulted in destruction and a long period of instability. In the 10th century, Antibes found a protector in Signor Roduart, who built extensive fortified walls around the town and a castle in which to live. For the next 200 years, the town experienced a period of renewal. Prosperity was short-lived, as the whole region fell into disarray for several centuries. The inhabitants of Antibes stayed behind their strong city walls as a succession of wars and epidemics ravaged the countryside. By the end of the 15th century, the region was under the protection and control of King Louis XI of France. Relative stability returned, but the small port of Antibes fell into obscurity. From around the middle of the 19th century, the Antibes area regained its popularity, as wealthy people from around Europe discovered its natural beauty and built luxurious homes here. In 1926, the old Car Centre Grimaldi in Antibes was bought by the local municipality and later restored for use as a museum. Pablo Picasso came to the town in 1946, having visited his friend and fellow painter Gerald Murphy and his wife Sarah there in 1923, and was invited to stay in the castle. During his 6-month stay, Picasso painted and drew as well as crafting ceramics and tapestries. When he departed, Picasso left a number of his works to the municipality. The castle has since become the Picasso Museum. Population: 25% of the town's inhabitants are under the age of 25. Climate: Antibes enjoys a Mediterranean climate. Culture: sport is an important part of the local culture. The town hosts the National Training Center for Basketball. On May 25, 1999, the town was the first in the Dark Copyright Department to sign the State Environment Charter, which pledges to actively conserve the natural environment. Jazzfestival Jazz Juan in July. Sites: beaches. There are 48 beaches along the 25 km of coastline that surround Antibes and Juan-les-Pins. Museums: Archaeology Museum. This museum sits atop the Promenade Miral de Grasse in the old Bastion Saint-André, a 17th-century fortress. The museum's collection focuses on the classical history of Antibes. Many artifacts, sculptures and amphorae found in local digs and shipwrecks from the harbour are displayed here. The views of the sea and mountains from the promenade are also spectacular. Naval Museum of Napoleone, housed in a 17th-century stone fort and tower, this museum presents a collection of Napoleonic memorabilia, paintings and naval models. Several wall paintings show historic moments in Napoleon's reign, and there are also pieces of his clothing such as one of the hats he once wore. Picasso Museum. This museum houses one of the world's greatest Picasso collections, 24 paintings, 44 drawings, 32 lithographs, 11 oils on paper, 80 pieces of ceramics, 2 sculptures and 5 tapestries. La Tour Museum. This small museum in the center of town brings the contemporary history of Antibes to life through its exhibit of costumes, tools, photographs and other objects used by the local people. Absinthe Museum. The Absinthe Museum is located in a basement in the Roman foundations of Old Antibes. It is dedicated to the manufacture and appreciation of this green liqueur. Parks and Gardens. The Explorer Park. The Explorer Park is a 5-hectare garden open to the public. Next to the large olive grove, there are different styles of Mediterranean gardens, from ancient Rome to the exuberant Riviera of the 19th century. Fountains and ponds stretch along the terrace, making a waterway 500 meters long. Antibes is renowned for rose production, and rose bushes line the path leading to the sea. The luxuriance of the exotic garden and palm grove is reminiscent of the Belle Copyright Polk, when English gardeners succeeded in planting flowers that bloom in winter, the season when the aristocracy visited the Quartier d'Isère. A little further on is the Centre de Verdure, inspired by Italian gardens, and a panoramic viewpoint with a view of the sea and the Îles des Lérins. In the style of Provençal Occitan gardens of the 18th century, there is a maze with sculpted hedges. Further on, Islamic gardens are featured, with an orange grove where the ground is patterned with terracotta irrigation pipes similar to those in the celebrated Seville Cathedral in Spain. The vegetable gardens and orchards in the Arset are planted in hollows as in Morocco to protect them from the sun and maximize shadow and humidity. A representation of a Moroccan house pays homage to the painter Majorel, creator of the beautiful Blue Garden in Marrakesh. In another area, the winter garden contains plants that flower in winter, such as mimosa and camellias. The Yllin Rock Gardens, Villa Yllin Rock was built on a rock in the middle of a virtual desert. The area was transformed into a garden through the patience and talent of Jacques Gribauer, landscape architect and consultant to the Great Exhibition in New York in 1939. He was commissioned by Mr. Beaumont to create this luxuriant park of 11 hectares. The gardens with all their luxuriant vegetation lie 30 meters above the sea with a view across the Bay of the Cap. Planted with traditional Mediterranean species such as marine and parasol pines, Alip and canary pines, cypress, oaks, olive trees, arbutus, lavender, thyme, rosemary, eucalyptus, ficus etc., as well as 3 kilometers of Pittosporum hedges. A whole part of the park has been created with plants found in the Antibes area in 1920. Thurit Parker, in 1857, Gustave Thurit discovered the wonderful, unspoilt Cap d'Antibes and bought 5 hectares of land where he built a villa and began the creation of a park. Bequeathed to the state by his heirs, the Jardin Botanique de la Villa Thurit is now managed by the INRA. The superb collection of trees and exotic plants, and the rich earth, provide many opportunities for learning, and the cross-fertilization of plant species that grow on the Mediterranean coast. Groupe Lighthouse. The old lighthouse of Antibes provides one of the best views in the region from its lofty hilltop. To get here, you must walk about 1 kilometer up the Chemin de Calvaire from the Plage de la Salis. It makes for a nice half-day stroll. Church of the Immaculate Conception. The central church in Antibes was first built in the 11th century with stones used from earlier Roman structures. Its current 4-section aid was constructed in the 18th century and blends Latin classical symmetry and religious fantasy. The interior houses some impressive pieces such as a Baroque altarpiece and life-sized wooden carving of Christ's death from 1447. Hôtel du Cap Eden Rock, this villa, set in a forest at the tip of the Cap d'Antibes Peninsula, recreates a 19th-century car cento. Since 1870 the glamorous white-walled Hôtel du Cap on the French Riviera has been one of the most storied and luxurious resorts in the world. Guests who flocked there included Marlene Dietrich, the Duke and Duchess of Windsor and Winston Churchill. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton conducted an affair and honeymoon there. Ports. There are many yachting harbours which provide moorings for a range of ships ranging from fishing vessels to full-sized yachts. Port Vauban, the largest yachting harbour in Europe, with more than 2,000 moorings, can accommodate craft of more than 100 meters. This old port was the heart of the ancient Greek city of Antipolis and has a long and colorful history which includes Ligurians, Romans and Crusaders on their way to the Holy Land. Today, it is the largest marina in Europe, serving both local fishing boats and luxury yachts. Port Galles, 542 moorings, Port de la Salis, 233 moorings, Port du Croatan, 390 moorings, Port de l'Olivet, situated in the sheltered cove of the same name. This is a harbour for sailors and their wooden fishing boats who enjoy the old marine, Provençal traditions. Theatre and music, the Thorcenter Antibes, Thorcenter des Has Bliss and Cafar copyright Thorcenter Las Garnis sur Mer all offer a variety of performances from orchestra music to dramatic plays. Music of all types, from live jazz to DJs spinning techno, can be found in the bars and nightclubs, and there are a number of festivals and special outdoor concerts during the summer. Jazz is still a speciality around here, and the Juan-les-Pins Jazz Festival is one of the best in the world. M83 hails from Antibes. Festivals. Antibes and Juan-les-Pins host a number of festivals, mainly during the summer months. There's not much in the way of traditional cultural festivals in Antibes. Most of the festivals focus on music and contemporary activities. Jazz Juan remains one of the top jazz festivals in the world. Since its inception in 1960, it has attracted many famous jazz artists each year to play outdoors. Antibes Yacht Show, the antique show of Antibes, attracts thousands of collectors for 2 weeks in April. It's one of the largest shows of its kind in France. Voiles d'Antibes is one of the world's biggest gatherings of old teak and brass sailing vessels. They converge on the port for one of the most regal regattas in the Mediterranean. The Festival of St. Peter is the annual celebration of the patron saint of fishermen. A colorful procession through the town is followed by all the local fishermen adorning their boats and floating along the coast. The Festival of Sacred Music takes place in Antibes Cathedral, which has renowned acoustics. Sacred music is the theme of this popular festival, which attracts huge crowds each year. Shopping. Marche copyright Provençal Occitan. Transport. The Gare d'Antibes is the railway station serving the town, offering connections to Nice, Cannes, Marseille, Paris and several other destinations. The railway station is in the center of town. The nearest airport is Nice-Côte d'Azur Airport. Personalities. Flock and Rasputin, polar bears living at Marineland. Graham Greene lived in a small apartment in Antibes in his later years. Gloria Guinness, then Princess Fakhry, married Thomas Lowell Guinness in April 1951. Nikos Kazantzakis, writer of the novel Zorba the Greek, owned a villa in Old Town. M83, electronic band, Gerald and Sarah Murphy, wealthy Americans credited with establishing the French Riviera as a summer resort. Guillaume Musso, writer, Pablo Picasso, painter, Halima Sauci, basketball player, Nicolas de Storel, painter, Luke Arthur Verbobe, basketball player, Duke of Windsor, Aristotle Onassis and Stavros Niarchos. At different times, lived in Château de la Croix. International relations. Twin towns are sister cities. Antibes is twinned with, see also, communes of the Alpes-Maritimes department. Fort Cara copyright, Juan-les-Pins, Route Napola copyright on, Stade du Fort Cara copyright, notes. References, INSEE, this article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain, Chisholm, Hugh, ed. Encyclopædia Britannica. Cambridge University Press. External links, Antibes official website, Antibes Pictures website.